It's time to take action. Balanced life, happy life, a better way. This is video C, the compensation plan. Well, hello again. In this video, I want to provide you with the specific information on the Nikken compensation plan. This is video C. This is very important. The comp plan is the third video within the series of 6 videos in this program. You should watch them all so that you gain a complete understanding of how to proceed. All right. Before moving on, the next few slides describe each of the ranks, positions that you can attain in the compensation and what's required, all the benefits in the total program. Now, these ranks tie in with your goal in terms of actual volume requirements and income earned. You will see how to use this information, especially to create a plan for yourself and also for somebody else. Let's take a good look. Okay, at the bottom of the program, the bottom of the compensation plan, it starts at direct. And the qualifications to become a direct is very simple. Read, understand, accept the Nikken policies and procedures and the compensation plan. Complete an application, an agreement, and send it to Nikken headquarters, and then you'll get corporate approval. I mean, we don't know anybody that's been rejected, so formality. Benefits, then you have the ability to order products directly from Nikken and in your back office at mynikken.com, and you get them at distributor prices. So you want to review your mynikken.com back office with your sponsor so you understand how that works and how you operate it and how you get the information you need. And therefore, you can order products, you can sign up for auto ship, and you can make retail sales and earn a 20% retail profit on the customer sales that are sold at retail prices. Now, to move up from there, it's a rather simple process. Obviously, the next rank up is called senior. First, you have to be a direct consultant. You then achieve 100 personal point volume, and the personal PV is either a retail sale or something that you purchase, and then $500 in PGPV, which is your personal group point volume in 1 calendar month. And again, the benefits are very simple, 20% retail profits, but you have an additional benefit that kicks in here, and that's a 5% personal CV rebate on your orders or on your retail sales, and up to a 5% override generated by the direct distributors in your personal group. How you achieve senior? There's a number of ways, obviously. You can reach senior easily by selling 500 in retail sales, by purchasing 500 at distributor cost, or by sponsoring a new distributor that purchases at 500 at cost. So options there's lots of them. And again, you want to consult with your sponsor to figure out what's best for you and your personal circumstances. Next rank up is the executive rank. Here you achieve 100 PPV and 1,500 personal group PV in 1 month. The monthly qualifications moving forward are achieve 100 PPV. The benefits, 20% retail profits on customer sales sold at retail, 10% personal CV rebate. So the rebate has gone up by an additional 5%. So as you see, as you climb the ladder, you increase the benefits. There's an override potential of up to 10% of the CV generated from the downline in your personal group. So on a new direct, you'd earn 10%, but if you had a senior and they were entitled to 10%, well, then there would be no override there because it's based on the difference. Get with your sponsor to clarify that, and then we'll create some examples for you to look at so that you truly understand this. Now, how do you achieve executive? Same way, by selling 1,500 in retail sales or by sponsoring new distributors who create 1,500 in volume, obviously plus your 100 PPV. Or if you started your own wellness home or with a couple of packs, you could easily reach the executive level yourself with what your requirements are. Again, you're going to want to play with this to see the various benefits. And of course, as you move into the rest of the videos, you're going to see how to get started, what to do, how to launch your business, and how all of this gets created. Before we get into talking about leadership bonuses, I want to define some definitions that relate to the leadership bonus qualifications. You're going to see a term called your primary leg. And this is defined as the leg that someone you sponsor in their organization with the most organization PV, OPV, in a calendar month. Your secondary leg is defined as the leg that contains the second highest OPV in your organization. And then thirdly, outside the primary and secondary legs is defined as any other volume not included in the primary or secondary legs. So it's pretty simple. So you got, and this could be your retail, your personal group volume. It could be a third leg, a fourth leg, a fifth leg. I mean, there's a number of combinations that this could work with. Now, what's really important here is you have to understand this from the standpoint of what the definitions say, but you don't have to track it because Nikken does that. All of this is tracked in your mynikken.com website back office and is available once you become a distributor and have created volume and sponsored other people in your organization. And again, you need to understand the concept, and then Nikken does all the tracking and reports in your back office. And then once you have that information, then you can utilize that with your sponsor if you need to clarify anything or create a better understanding. And of course, that's simple to do as we move forward. Okay, let's move on. All right, silver rank. This is the first leadership rank, and all ranks from this point on are called leadership ranks. And the goal here is to achieve 100 PPV and 6,000 PGPV in 1 month. Now, when you achieve the organizational point volume of at least 1,000 outside the primary leg, so that's the leg with the most volume, and at least another 500 out of OPV requirement being met outside the primary and the secondary leg. So we're going to, in the next slide, give you an example of this so you really get to see what this means. The monthly qualifications, 100 PPV, and maintain a PGPV of 1,500 points. Now, here are the benefits. 20% retail profit on customer sales sold at retail prices, 20% personal CV rebate, up to 20% personal group CV override, and now an additional income of 6% leadership bonus on personal group CV down through 2 levels of qualified silvers or above below you. This is where this gets very exciting. So let's take a look at an example. And this is an example of reaching silver. So here you can see in the gray box that you have a personal purchase of 100 PPV. You have also created 3 retail sales totaling 900 PPV. So you've got that 1,000 total PPV, which is also 1,000 PGPV. Now, your primary leg produced 4,000 PGPV, and your secondary leg produced 1,000. You've now reached silver. So there's a picture of it, just an idea. And again, you can imagine there could be a number of pictures that represent this idea, but there's your primary, there's your secondary, and then there's your volume outside your primary and your secondary, and that meets the qualifications. And now you've reached that first leadership level, and you're now qualified for the benefits that has to offer. All right, let's move on. Next rank up is gold. And you see that on the left with the arrow. And this again achieved PPV of 100 and PGPV of 1,500 points. Now the organizational point value has changed now to 15,000, with at least 5,000 of the minimum OPV requirement being met by legs outside the primary and the secondary, and at least 1,500 of the minimum OPV requirement being met by legs outside the primary and the secondary. Monthly qualification requirements are the same as above. You have to do the 15,000 points, and you have to have the others met, and you have to do the 100 PPV and the PGPV of 1,500 points. Here are the benefits. Now, at this 20% retail profits, that's going to be a constant throughout the whole program. To 20% personal CV rebate. Again, that's again on your retail sales, personal purchases. Up to 20% personal group CV override. And again, as you now understand, this is based on the difference of your rank and somebody in your personal group. So If you're at 20% and they're at 10%, then you're going to make the difference of 10%. If they're at 5% and you're at 20%, you're going to make the difference of 15%. Again, you're going to probably want to pencil out some examples with your sponsor so that you truly get this. So it'll help you in explaining what's going on down the road. All right. And then, of course, the next benefit is the 6% leadership bonus on personal group CV down through 3 levels of qualified silver or above in your organization. Now, next benefit that kicks in at the gold level is you become eligible for the lifestyle bonus. And you've seen that, what the lifestyle bonus is in the other video. And again, in your back office, you will get more explanation of the lifestyle bonus. Okay, let's move on. Here's an example of reaching gold. You produce 100 PPV and 1,400 retail, and that gives you your 1,500 points. Now you've got that handled. You have a primary leg with 9,000 OV, and you have a secondary leg with 5,000 OV. You add that all up, and there's your 15,000 points. You've now reached the gold rank. And here's a picture. And again, this is just an example of what this might look like. And I think you're now beginning to see where we're going with these pictures and how the organization develops and how it grows and how you move up to the next rank. All right, let's look at the next rank, which is the platinum rank advancement. Again, achieve 100 PPV and a PGPV of 1,000. Achieve an organizational point volume of at least 30,000 with at least 10,000 of the minimum OPV requirement being met by legs outside the primary leg and at least 3,000 of the minimum OPV requirement being met by legs outside the primary and the secondary legs. The monthly qualification requirements are the same. So here are the benefits. 20% retail profit, 20% personal CV rebate, up to 20% personal group CV override, a 6% leadership bonus on personal CV down through now 4 levels of qualified silvers and above below you, eligible for the lifestyle bonus. So you can see again here, the higher you go up, the deeper it pays down. So this is something to do with structure, which we'll talk about, and you'll get a better understanding as we move forward here. Now, here's an example of reaching platinum. You produce 100 PPV, you get that 1,000 PGPV, and you're now qualified there. You have a primary leg with 20,000 OV. It's a ranked gold distributor. You have a second gold leg with 7,000 OV, and you have a third silver leg with 3,000 OV. You have now reached the platinum rank. Here's a picture. Now, obviously, the golds are going to have distributors underneath them, and this could go down 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 levels. There's no stopping the growth below. It's all based on how you direct traffic, and it's all based on who the people are that are building underneath you in your organization. All right. Now, at this point, you can see that reaching a rank depends on developing your team and organization, and they're called your downline. You should also see that the direction of the organization grows the fastest is downward. You should also see that the benefit of the rank achieved allows you to earn deeper in your group. So a silver goes down 2 levels deep, a gold 3 levels deep, a platinum 4 levels deep, a diamond 5 levels deep, and a royal diamond goes down 6 levels. Therefore, it is important to see that the deeper you go in developing any group, the stronger the leg becomes, and the more it will influence what you earn. So as a gold rank distributor, you can earn a leadership bonus up to 3 levels below you. And if you think about this, that person on your third level needs to produce volume and have activity below them for you to earn your 6% on their production. This is how this works. And this is where you work at the bottom of any leg. As you review this video, you may want to pause occasionally and draw a picture of each rank so you understand how you reach each rank, what you can do to reach the rank, and how much could be earned from achieving the rank. as this will allow you to better understand the compensation plan so that you can show somebody else what they need to do. And this is our job. By using this information in the requirements section of each rank, you can start to figure out potential earnings with the leadership bonus benefit. In simple terms, it's the total income divided by the rate equals the volume. And from there, you can look at the ranks in the compensation plan and see what needs to be accomplished to reach the goal that you want. In the next video, video D, we will learn what needs to be applied to earn income at the various levels, from retail to leadership bonus, and how this is tied to the ranks, and how this relates to structure of your organization and reaching your goals. Now, let's continue. Diamond rank advancement. So again, here, achieve 100 PPV and a PGPV of 1,000. Achieve an organization point volume of at least 100,000 with at least 33,000 of the minimum OPV requirement being met by legs outside the primary leg and at least 10,000 of the minimum OPV requirement being met by legs outside the primary and secondary legs. Monthly qualifications are the same. Again, benefits, 20% retail profits, 20% personal CV rebate, 20% or up to 20% personal group CV override. Again, that depends on the difference in rank between you and the people in your personal group. A 6% leadership bonus on PGCV down through 5 levels below you. And again, eligible for the lifestyle bonus. So again, you can see the higher up you go, the further you go down, the more benefits that are available. So let's take a look at an example. You have your 100 PPV and your PGPV of 1,000. Your primary leg is platinum and does 60,000 OV. And you have a secondary leg, which is gold, that does 30,000 OV. And you have a third silver leg that does 6,000 and a fourth silver leg that does 3,000 OV. You've now reached diamond. Here's a picture. Obviously, the platinum is going to be down several generations below you. The golds will also have several generations below you, and the silver could have multiple generations below them. So you begin to see how the organization grows and expands. I'm going to give you another example as we move forward with this that explains this concept, and this is the key to your success in building a successful network marketing business. Now, you can see that reaching diamond requires that your organization is producing 100,000 OV. And based on experience, your organization should be at least 6 or 7 levels deep in each of one, if not 2 legs in your organization. Remember that the plan applies to each distributor the same way it applies to you. So in our example, you have a platinum leg with 2 gold legs under that, and you can easily see and understand that those golds have distributors under them. And these legs should be quite deep. And again, this is an area that you pay attention to focus on, and to develop. All right. Here's a chart for you to enable you to see more how structure plays an important role in developing your organization. The basic idea is to develop 3 who develop 3 and drive that down over 6 levels below you. Simply done by teaching those you sponsor what to do. This does take some time, and this is the benefit we have based on our structure and how it can grow. And you will see how the organization can grow, and then we'll add in an example of someone's production. So on the left here, you see the levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 with total. Then you got the ideal number of leaders, and then an example of production. So if you got 3 who sponsored 3, who sponsored 3, who sponsored 3, all the way down through 6 levels, you'd have a total of about 1,092 distributors or leaders, however you want to define this. Now, let's say that you don't do the 3, you only do 2. And let's say on the second level, instead of 9, you do 4. And on the third level, instead of 27, you do 8, etc., all the way down. And you end up with 218, or about 20% of that ideal total. You can now say why you build deep and why you want to pay attention and help those you bring in grow and expand. In this example, you brought in 2 and helped them develop into 218 leaders that could potentially produce well over 300,000 in OV. This is how this works. Now, let's check out what could happen if you increase that production with this example. So here you have the same levels, 1 through 6. You have the ideal number of liters, the example of the production from the previous slide, and now the new potential based on adding 4 new liters on the third level and an additional 12 new liters on the fourth level. Look what happens, a 50% growth in the total. So you can now see where you could work to improve and grow your organization. Let's say that you did work on the third level or even the fourth level and help those leaders grow more. And you can see in the above example of the potential of how increasing that production in your organization can dramatically change the overall outcome. So there end up being 2 phases of production. Phase 1 is you start off, you do the work, you learn everything you can so that you can then direct in phase 2. And in phase 2, your job is to help others do the work, and this is how the business works. Everyone is playing by the same rules. All right, Royal Diamond, this is the final top rank, achieve 100 ppv and a PGPV of 1,000. The organizational point volume requirement here is 300,000, with at least 100,000 of the minimum OPV requirement being met by legs outside the primary leg and at least 30,000 of the minimum OPV requirement being met by legs outside the primary and secondary legs. Monthly qualifications are the same. Here are the benefits: 20% retail profits on customer sales at retail prices, 20% personal CV rebate, up to 20% personal group CV override, just as we've discussed before, between your difference between your rank and those in your personal group. Now, the 6% leadership bonus is now paid down through 6 qualified levels of silver or above in your organization, and of course, eligibility for the lifestyle bonus. So let's take a look at an example of this. You do your 100 ppv and 1,000 PGPV. Your primary leg is a diamond with 200,000 OV, and your second leg is a platinum with 40,000 OV, and you have a third platinum leg with 60,000. So right there, you've got the 300,000. You have a couple other goals, and they add 30,000. You're well above what you need to, and you've reached Royal Diamond. Again, looking at this picture, you see the arrows pointing down. Obviously, you're going to be 6, 7, 8 levels down in your organization, which is where you should be. You'll have leaders on all those levels, and you'll have reached the goal. You can easily figure out what this income would be for accomplishing this. So you can see you earn all the way along the line, and then as you produce and create these other people in your organization, then your volume increases and you reach the goal that you originally set out, and then it's time to set a new goal. Now, most failures come from not understanding specifics about how the compensation plan works and how the activities done relate to getting results. And when someone doesn't understand something, they can give up way before they start or do wrong things altogether. This is a really simple business. Take the time to learn as much as you can so that the people you talk with can then understand what you're saying, think about what you're saying, so they can think with and learn how to apply it to their circumstance and situation and handle their issues. This is how the business works. This is the end of Section C.